All right. So the first disadvantage of public limited company is too many legal formalities or too many legal requirements. Now, we are going to discuss what are those legal requirements, okay, in the next slide. So, right now, you just uh, need to know that there are some legal documents which public limited companies, they are supposed to submit it to the registrar before they start their business. So those documents are basically the legal requirements. So they involve cost as well and they involve time as well. So public limited companies, they take some time to get started. In fact, they take more time than a private limited company, right? I can just give you an example. In a private limited company, there are actually documents. I'll talk about it in the next slide. Memorandum of Association, Articles of Association. These are the documents which are required to be submitted by limited companies. Okay, as soon as Memorandum of Association and Articles of Association is submitted to the registrar, private limited company, they actually get the certificate of incorporation. Now remember, when we say they receive the certificate of incorporation, that certificate is a proof that now company is born. Now the company is having a separate legal existence, because you know that this is a common feature in a limited company. So company gets a legal entity or a legal existence when they submit those documents. As I told you, memorandum of association and articles of association, and we will talk about it, what these documents are all about in the next slide. But if I talk about a public limited company, remember, yes, they have to submit these two documents, memorandum of association and articles of association, right? Okay, but what do they get? They get certificate of incorporation. But the problem is that public limited companies cannot start the business after getting certificate of incorporation. Okay, because I just told you that certificate of incorporation means that now the company has come into an existence. Private limited company can start their business activity soon after getting certificate of incorporation. Whereas if I talk about a public limited company, after getting a certificate of incorporation, they have to get another certificate, and that is what we call certificate of commencement of business. So they require one more document, one more certificate, and for that again there are some legal formalities. So that is why legal formalities are greater in public limited company compared to private limited company. So that is why it involves more cost and time as well. So we covered the first point. Now, second is issue of shares in the stock exchange is costly. Why? Do you know? Because to list your shares in the stock exchange, I told you what does it mean when we say listing. It means that now your shares which are offered for sale, they are visible to everybody who visits the stock exchange. And stock exchange is a market where shares of the company are bought and sold, right? So for that, you have to pay a price to the stock exchange. Why? Why? Because obviously, then you will be able to advertise your shares as well, and your shares will be visible to everybody at the same time. So that is why it is costly. Okay. Then, okay, one more thing which I need to tell you, that is there is another document. Let me see. I think maybe the point is not there. Yeah, it's not there. So let me explain you that when you issue shares through stock exchange, it's costly. One, I told you that either you have to become the member of the stock exchange, or you have to hire the services of a broker. Broker is a person who actually deals in buying and selling of shares. But that broker, which is a company, is a member of the stock exchange. And to become a member of the stock exchange, you require a certain fee. That is what we call membership fee, right? So you have to submit it. So that is why it is costly. But at the same time, public limited companies, they have to submit another document, which I actually did not show uh, when I mentioned the points of differences. Let me show it to you, just a minute. All right, so these were the points, right? So we can add one more point here, and that could be that public limited company has to issue prospectus. Now, anybody who knows about what is a prospectus? It's a very common term. Normally, it is used whenever you want to get admission in a university or a school, right? Anybody who has an idea about what is a prospectus?
It tells about the business, its goals.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Anybody else want to say something? And private limited company does not need to issue prospectus. Okay, I just added it there. Does not need to issue prospectus. So prospectus basically is a document, you can say, and it is costly as well because the paper quality is very good. And why? Because now you have to tell outside world that there is a company formed and you can buy the shares of the company. So what happens actually? Actually, those people who want to buy the shares of the company, what do? They buy the prospectus first, right? And prospectus includes all the details of the company. When it was formed, what is the total capital of the business, the number of shareholders, the nature of the business, the head of address of the head office where it is located. So each and everything is there. Their performance, profits earned in the previous year or the previous year performance, their goals for the future. So that the people who are interested in buying the shares of the company, they get some idea whether this is the right company for them or not. Because obviously you cannot buy the shares of a public limited company all of a sudden. So you need some time because obviously you are going to spend a reasonable amount to buy the shares. So, and basically, so I told you it actually gives the detail, but at the end of that, a kind of a booklet, you can say, um a, a form is attached with that, and that form is called, let me write it there. We call it share application form. So it means after reading the prospectus or after getting the information about the business, if you are still interested in buying the shares of the company and you think it will be profitable for you as a shareholder, so you can fill up that form, right? That is share application form. And you fill it up. For example, you are interested in buying certain amount of shares. So you can just attach a check with that form as well, that I am interested in buying the shares of that company. And then you submit it, right? So, so basically, prospectus is, what is it then? So it includes share application form as well. So this is part of, at the end of prospectus, you can find that. Okay, so basically prospectus is a document. Okay, it is, I told you that you cannot say prospectus is which provides details. You have to tell what is a prospectus. Is it a living thing, non-living thing, animal, human, machinery, building, what? So you cannot define a term by just saying that prospectus includes. You have to mention what is a prospectus. So it is a document, right? So it is a document which provides detail about a company. Okay, uh, the detail can be financial and operational, that how they are, what they are doing, what are the plans as far as their operations are concerned. Okay, and how much profit they have earned up till now, their past year performances in terms of profit, and what are their future goals in terms of profit as well. So both can be there, and detail about a company, its financial details, operational details, and invites and it sorry it invites general public to buy the shares of the company. So basically that is the main purpose, right? That prospectus is a document which invites general public to buy the shares of that company, and that is what they want. Okay. So and obviously without providing the details of the information, how can somebody be willing to buy the shares of the company? So that is the question, right? So now you understand this. But for private limited company, it's not required, and in fact, they cannot issue prospectus. I told you why, because prospectus is a kind of advertisement as well. It's a kind of promotion of your company. You know that you are publicly selling your prospectus. Fine. So whoever getting it, so can come to know about the detail or the about the progress of the company. So private limited companies can't do it. So they have to use again their family connections and their friend circles. Okay, now let's move on to, so it is prospectus is costly to issue, right? Okay, and you never know whether all prospectus will be sold or not, but you have to have uh, an enhanced quality of paper there as well. Obviously, the color printer will be used there as well, or maybe if you are using printing press, because you have to show pictures as well, they should be high quality. Why? Because you are going to attract your potential investors to invest in the company, right? So issuing prospectus is also costly. Then we have lack of secrecy. Now it's very easy, and I think somebody answered it earlier as well. So Hussein, can you answer why there is lack of secrecy in public limited company?
because the information would be shared with the general public or in the newspapers like that.
Hussein, I mean your voice was very low and bleak. Can you just speak loudly?
But I'm saying that there would be some security issues because the information would also be shared with the general public or in the newspapers, I guess.
Yeah, very good. That's right. In a public limited company, uh, there is a requirement that they have to publish their accounts in the newspaper, and accounts actually show the financial details of a company, right? And why they are required to do so? Because I told you that shareholders are not the board of directors, right? The existing shareholders I am talking about. So if they want to know something about the company, how can they come to know about it? They cannot straight away visit the board of directors office in the head office, right? So the newspaper is the way through which shareholders can come to know that how the business is going, and how much money they will be getting in the future, or whether their investment is safe or not, whether to take it out or to invest more. So for that they have to publish it in the newspaper, and at least in one newspaper which is circulated in an area where their head office is located, right? Obviously, they cannot actually publish it in every newspaper. So, but if they publish it in an area where their head office is located, they'll assume that they have informed the shareholders. Now it's up to them whether they read the newspaper or not, right? So, and same is the case with annual general meeting as well. They invite through a newspaper that there's an annual general meeting. So all the shareholders which are interested, they attend the meeting. Okay, so that is why, because you publish it, so everybody comes to know about it. Because newspaper can be bought and read by anybody, either that person is your shareholder or not. So there is no there is no secret at all, right? That is the problem. And for example, a business is not going well because of any reason, everybody will come to know, right? and those investors who might like to invest there, or they might be thinking about to buy the shares of that company, they might become hesitant as well after looking at it, although that problem might be a very short term, right? Maybe for 2 months or 3 months. But obviously, the people who are outside the company, they do not know about it, that how the problem would be solved. So that could be a problem, right? So they might find it difficult to attract more shareholders to buy their shares if the company is not progressing well. So it's an open secret as far as the affairs, the operational detail, and the financial details of the public limited company is concerned. So that is a disadvantage. Then divorce between ownership and control. I have explained it in much detail, right? That owners, shareholders own it, and board of directors control it. So original owners, they lose the control of the business. We discussed it. Original owners may lose control. Almost the same thing. You can use both the points in the while developing it, but you can develop them all together as well. You can develop them separately, sorry, as well. It's up to you. You know both the points. Difficult to manage and control. Now, why it is difficult to manage and control, that is a question. So, Bilal Jamil, any idea?
Sir, unlimited shareholders.
Okay, all right. So, shareholders are not there to manage it. Why it is difficult to manage them? Board of directors are not supposed to manage shareholders. They are supposed to manage the company affairs. Why it is difficult then to manage and control?
Because it's a huge business.
Sorry, come again?
So it's a
Yes,
big
yes.
business and hence it's very hard to manage.
Yeah, Rida Yazani. Very good. Absolutely right. I told you, public limited companies are normally huge companies. They are immense in size, gigantic companies. I told you Toyota, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, you know that. Procter and Gamble, Unilever, Pakistan. So these are huge companies now. You cannot even imagine. So obviously, to manage such a large company, it's not that easy. And they might have branches, not in one country. They might have branches all over the world, because public limited companies are the ones which actually become multinationals as well. And multinationals are those companies which operate in more than one country, right? So obviously, public limited companies later become multinational. So then it becomes very difficult to manage and control, because board of directors, they are there in one country in their head office, and they have to control the affairs of the branches which are there outside their city or outside their country. So obviously, now to make unified policies and to enforce them, it's not easy at all. And you know that you have to maintain the same standard throughout your organization, doesn't matter wherever your branches are. If you are not able to maintain, there will be a problem. Think about McDonald's. So if you go McDonald's anywhere, you go to Europe or America or Pakistan, you will find almost the same standard, right? So you have to maintain it. Otherwise, the business, especially public limited company, if it becomes a multinational, they will fail to maintain a global image. And for larger companies who operate in more than one country, they need to maintain a global image, so that people from anywhere, for example, they are traveling to some other parts of the world, still when they see that brand, they would like to buy that, or they would like to visit that restaurant, because there is a global image and people know that the quality is the same. There's no difference, so we can go over there. So that's why it's not that easy. And even you know that board of directors have no interaction with the ground level staff members at all. And when there are too many employees working there all over the country or all over the world, then you know that it can become messy, and you may lose the control in a way that you might fail to maintain the same standard of quality being offered in all the branches, and it may spread a bad image as well. It may affect your global image. Like Pepsi has a global image, right? Coca-Cola has a global image. Toyota has a global image, right? Honda has a global image, but they are there to maintain it. Otherwise, nobody is going to buy. All right, risk of being taken over. Now, why there is a risk of, do you know what is a takeover? Mr. Zan Hassan, but do you know about it? What is a takeover?
The person having most of the share, I guess it's
Oh,
related to it.
okay. Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. Takeover is basically a process in which one of the company or individual buys more than 50% shares of another company. This happens, right? Now, to your surprise, Google is there, right? Google is a company, okay? Do remember. And Google has taken over. Do you know which is the most popular site? Do you know that?
YouTube.
No, absolutely. Very good, Bilal. Great. I thought that nobody knew about it. Yes, YouTube was a site earlier that was an independent site. So later on, Google actually bought that site. So it means that Google took over YouTube, and you can see that if you want to get information about anything, you can search Google. If you want to see a video to get any kind of information, again, YouTube is there. So they are at the top. What do you think? Think about Google, think about YouTube. So they are all over the world, right? So you can see that how successful they are now. So maybe that was the right time when Google bought YouTube. All right. As soon as when a company takes over another company, that company becomes the subsidiary of that company or the daughter company. I can write it as well. Let me write it there. The takeover is, it is a process where one business or individual buys more than 50%. So it can be 100% as well, right? But at least 50% should be there. More than 50% shares of another company. So obviously it is not possible for a single individual to buy more than 50% shares of a public limited company, because you know that public limited company is huge. So it's not in the capacity of a single person to buy more than 50% shares, right? So more than 50% share of the company. This is what we call takeover. Okay, right. Just a minute. So there was, I can give you another example. You know that there were two cell phone network companies. One was Varid and the other was, I think you know it. What was the other?
Jazz.
Jazz. So what happened then?
Jazz took over Varit.
Yeah, absolutely right. Jazz took over Varid. So now they use the word Jazz Varid. But now actually the Jazz is the owner of Varid. So Varid is basically, we can say, it's a subsidiary, this subsidiary company. The company which is taken over by another company is called a subsidiary. Okay? Which is taken over. Right? And the company which takes over the company is called, do you know? Anybody? No idea. Okay, we can call it holding company, because now they have a hold company, or we can say, instead of holding, we can say parent company, right? So we can use this as well, which takes over. All right. Similarly, there was in Pakistan, there was a bank, ABN AMRO. You might be familiar with that. So it was taken over by Royal Bank of Scotland, RBS. Okay, and I know that because I was having an account in ABN AMRO. Okay, so later on, because obviously the banks, they send certain documents to their account holders at the end of a year, for example, maybe a bank statement or some other information. So it was written there that they wrote, why? Because we never know who is taking over who, right? So obviously they have to tell that it is the same company. They have to inform the customer, otherwise the customers will be confused. Okay, so what they wrote actually at the bottom of the page or the document, they wrote Royal Bank of sorry, Royal Bank of Scotland, previously known as ABN AMRO Bank. So they actually told us that it is the same bank, but now they have just changed the name because customers have nothing to do with the ownership. They just want that whatever they are doing or whatever services they are getting, they should be of the required quality, right? So they actually wrote that Royal Bank of Scotland, previously known as ABN AMRO, because RBS took over ABN AMRO. All right, I think now you are clear about it. So now what happened now? My question is why there is a risk of being taken over in case of a public limited company? That's my question. Anybody who can answer it?
So there are unlimited shares in the stock market.
Yeah, that's right. And they are open to general public. So if you keep on issuing shares, so maybe there might be a company bigger than that company, and they might buy all of the shares, and they become the owner of more than 50% of the shares, right? So in that case, obviously, that company will become the daughter company or the subsidiary company, and the company which will take over, that will become the parent company or a holding company. But this does not happen in case of private limited company. Do you know why? Because there is a limit. You cannot issue more shares after a certain limit. So obviously, in that case, and they are not offered to general public in the stock exchange. That is why there is always a risk. That is why you need to see how many shares need to be issued, right? Because if you keep on issuing shares without thinking about it, so that risk can come into play. All right, now let's talk about, now remember this is a past paper question and it is there in my notes as well, and I have added it in my slides as well. This is not there in the textbook. Why I told you? Because in my notes I have intentionally added the answers of past paper question. I just try to answer it. So when you will see the past paper questions at the end of each chapter, you will be able to see it, that you might be able to answer all the questions. They are there in the notes. But obviously, how to answer, the technique to answer, we are discussing and we'll keep on discussing it, right? That is a technical issue and we need to address it every now and then. Now, public limited company is accountable to its shareholders in the following ways. Okay, let's talk about it. One is to hold an annual general meeting. So it is the responsibility of the company to hold an annual general meeting. Why? Because they are responsible to inform shareholders that how their money is being used, what are their future plans, how much profit they are going to get in the future, right? And sometimes in annual general meeting they declare dividends as well. And dividend, I guess you understand what is a dividend. Shanze Faryal, do you know what is a dividend? Shanze, do you know what is a dividend?
No, sir, no idea.
Okay, no problem. Um, Ramin Imran, any idea what is a dividend? Ramin,
Idea.
no idea. Okay, no problem. Okay, anybody who can tell me what is a dividend?
Sir, the share of profits given to the shareholders at the end of the year.
Very good, Rida. Very good. Actually, you can say this word has come
Sir,
from
I
the
guess
word
the
divide.
cash that a company gives to its shareholders.
Yes, Hussain, very good. Thank you very much. As you can see that the word dividend comes from the word division or divide, right? So what happens, whatever the profit which is earned by the business, profit earned by the company, okay, whatever the profit. So they actually, some part of the profit is distributed among the owners of the company, because obviously that is why they have invested money in the company, right? So profit earned by the company, just a minute, part of profit earned by the company distributed to shareholders, right? And shareholders are the owners. So it is a responsibility of the company to uh, give shareholders their share of profit, right? Okay, so what about, I just wrote part of profit. So what about the rest of the profit, which they do not distribute among the shareholders? What do we call it? Anybody? No idea?
Retained?
Very good. Rida, was that you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good, Rida. You are good. Yes, we call it retained profit. Remember, retained. Why? Because this is the part of profit which is not given to the shareholders. It is kept by the business. Part of the profit which is kept by the business and not distributed among the shareholders. Right? So part of the profit which is kept by the business and not distributed among the shareholders. Why? Because later on, business might have to use the profit, for example, for expansion of the business, right? Okay. Now get back to the slide. Okay, so it means, so I told you that in annual general meeting they organize an annual general meeting, and there they give complete information to the shareholders. And who gives them the information? And who actually holds that annual general meeting? Faria?
सर मैंने अभी ज्वाइन किया, आप रिपीट कर दें दोबारा.
I said who holds an annual general meeting to provide complete information to the shareholders? That's my question. Fazan,
सर बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स.
board of directors, very good. Yes, they are the people who run the company. So they hold an annual general meeting and they give every single detail of the company, how the business is progressing, what are their future plans, what was the past performance, how much profit shareholders are going to get. So they announce dividends there as well. Obviously, they have to keep the shareholders motivated so that they should not withdraw their investment out of the business. To show good performance of the business in terms of dividend and share price, so you know that. Now, you understand what is dividend, right? So obviously, they have to inform the shareholders about the performance. Okay, but they have to tell about the share price as well, because if the share price of the company is going up, it means the company is doing well. It's very easy to understand. You know that whenever the demand of a certain product increases, its price also goes up. Think about Tom Cruise. Why Tom Cruise charges a huge amount for a movie? Why? Because the demand of Tom Cruise is huge. Everybody wants to have Tom Cruise in their movie, right? Similarly, when we talk about share price or shares, so if all the people they want to buy the shares of a certain company, obviously the price of that share will go up, and that shows that the company's reputation is good and the performance is up to the mark. So the direction of the share price also tells about the performance of the business. It's not only about the dividends, right? Okay, so this is the responsibility of the board of directors to inform them about the current share price and the trend of the share price, whether it will go up or down, and the amount of dividend which will be given to the shareholders. Then it is the responsibility of the limited company to comply with all legal requirements in terms of employment, health and safety, etc. Why? They are responsible to shareholders because after all they are the owners, right? So for example, if they do not follow legal requirements, for example, employees work at a workplace and that workplace is very filthy, right? And it is very humid. It is not good for the health of the workers working there, right? And there is no proper sanitation. Cleanliness is not there. Uh, Similarly, health and safety is not being provided. Workers are not provided with proper equipment, right? So proper washing facilities are not there. So in that way, what will happen? Bad image will be spread, right? And who is going to suffer? Obviously, shareholders, because they are the people who have invested money in the business. So they won't like to damage their company's name, right? So obviously for that, the board of directors, the board of directors are responsible to shareholders. The shareholders will never want that the image or the reputation of the company uh, gets damaged. Okay, then to maintain a good reputation of the company in terms of overall image in the community. Okay, so for example, the price they are charging, the projects they are actually doing, whether they are actually working for all the people or maybe a certain class. Okay, because sometimes the companies have to start different projects for the welfare of the people as well, and it's not actually for the welfare. Back of the mind, the objective is to gain popularity, right? So this happens actually, and again, the board of directors are responsible to create a good image, reputation of the company, other than employment, health and safety, and following legal requirements. Okay, now we can talk about the legal formalities. Okay, we have talked about it much, but now we'll talk about precisely about them. Memorandum of Association, I told you, MOA we call it, and it is a document. It is a legal document which you have to submit it to the registrar, so that the registrar will get the name of the company registered, and then company will be formed. You know that. Okay, I just told you. The name of the company is there, address of the company is there, what would be the maximum share capital which will be there, the maximum number of shares they can issue. Obviously, private limited company has a limit, public limited company has no limit, but still they have to tell at a certain point of time how many shares they will issue at the maximum. If they want to increase that limit, they have to inform the registrar again. Okay, so it means the detail is there in memorandum of association. Then aims of the business, the objectives, the targets, what for the business has come into an existence. Now, articles of association. This actually all about the internal working of the organization. So who is responsible? Responsible for internal working of the organization? Obviously, board of directors. So the name of the directors are there as well, and their positions like director finance, director HR, director marketing, right? And then the procedures to be followed, how to conduct an annual general meeting, and other procedures which need to be followed to run their business activities. So detail is there in articles of association. In memorandum of association, detail is not there, right? So uh, this is a document which the business require so that they can get going. Obviously, they may take help from articles of association, that whether we are following the same procedures, same rules which are written there in articles of association or not. Okay, so in memorandum of association, it is just an information, right? Whereas in articles of association, you actually have a work plan. Okay, all right. Now, I won't move because I told you I will involve you in a very small quiz. We will discuss the term cooperative in the next class. So now get ready. Let me show it to you. Here we go. Now, this is a quiz, and I will ask, um, okay, Fazan Hassan. Fazan, now you have to, okay, you have to solve that quiz. It's a matchup quiz. See,
Okay, sir.
you have a lot of time. You have to tell me that, okay, these are the terms which are there, and you have to tell me how should I match it with the terms. The relevant explanations are given here, and these are the terms. So match the relevant information with the appropriate term. Yes. First is
Sir,
prospectus. Which one? One, two,
sir, I
three,
am.
four, five.
Sir, it's written very small. I couldn't read it.
Do you have an eyesight problem?
Yes, sir. It's very
Okay,
small.
I know that, but can't you make it big? Is it possible for you?
No, sir.
Now,
Sir, I think you should zoom the web page from your side.
I mean, it might be, yeah, I guess it's not possible to read.
Sir, prospectus is the third one. is an invitation to the general public